ICM? This feels familiar somehow.
Insulindian Citizens Militia. It's the official name of the Communards Army, the black and white army of the revolution.
Sounds an awful lot like.
It does. The RCM may descend from the ICM. It's impossible to say. It was chaos after the war. The name was good for getting people to join us. Revachol West was mostly workers and criminals.
Nice political thoughts rush through your neocortex. It's going to be hard to say them. Carrying around all that weight on a busted crutch is making you pant.
This is better preserved than the others. You can still read the sign. No, an upside-down star.
With its horns in the sky, the symbol of the commune.
No, that's the uninhabited archipelago.
A DeLorean-era symbol of Insulinda, known as the face in the sea.
After 44 years? That's not nearly enough to hide what happened here, Lieutenant Gefreiter. One of these barrels was still leaking fuel, as you saw. The city is full of things like this. Old bullets, guns, fuel.
An old cylindrical generator is nested above the ammo lift, with makeshift electrical wiring running out of its side and across the floor. The cables disappear into the wall to your right. The lieutenant puts his hand on the metal barrel, checking for warmth.
It's cold now, but someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired. Downstairs, somewhere? Liquid carbon. I would imagine it takes mazout. The kind that's favored by vagrants and fuel thieves. It's been a long winter, long and cold.
If anyone stayed here, they'd need a generator. A hollow ring, the canister is empty. Dust falls from the generator and down into the ammo lift. The lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank as you tilt. Dark brown, viscous fluid pours out, and the room fills with a chemical smell. There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch. The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle.
That should do it.
There's a greasy old spring mattress in the corner, resting on piles of soft cover books. White linen and a pillow are visible under a worn-out caracal blanket.
Someone has been squatting here. The linen is fresh, recently washed.
You force the rest of the sentence out through pain, thick as molasses, no longer able to hear yourself speak.
You know, officer, you can rest here if you are feeling tired. I will keep watch. You could use some rest for what's ahead. Yes, anytime. If you need a rest later, it's okay by me.
You don't have to be a hero. books and magazines lie scattered on the floor and on a makeshift cupboard. They are not particularly well organized. Most are soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories from the 20s and 30s. This disparate digest includes the classic animal adventures. Popular depictions of man versus nature by amateur naturalists T&T Harpin, husband and wife. Widely read by people from all walks of life. Who doesn't like nature? Who doesn't want to survive? Among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories, you find a magazine cathodique for electrical engineering. Then it's back to pulp. Light erotica, an international thriller about circuit benders.
Someone's made themselves a home.
Soft covers, serialized. Soft covers, serialized. Soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories, animal adventures. Oh yes, under the bed, there is a rather extensive collection of critical theory, that is, dour, life non-affirming left-wing literature, published by small imprints such as Abattoir Firm and Ouzia. It's not exactly like reading.
Ouzia. Humanitarian sciences. Stands out. Not a lot of critical theory around in Ravachol West anymore.
Your incendiary remark has failed to provoke him. Wasn't there some in the communist students' room?
Well, yes. That one student did.
The little books seem inconsequential next to the big pile of frivolous entertainment covering them.
Whoever has lived here, they have some education and a certain set of interests.
Interesting. Green paint flecks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard.
The console of an anti-computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out, they terminate here. I think, yes. Let's see. That one. The emergency open.
The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in.
After you. Don't worry. I have a gun. I know. It was not easy to acquire. I don't know.
A thin wisp of smoke rises from a charred black fire pit. The wind picks up, then dies down again. There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
This looks like a good place to aim from.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns. And an empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the brim with cigarette butts. The silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter, the brand Tio Moteri. Contemporary Revacholians prefer Druan, a local blend from the southern islands, or Astra, the legendary cigarette from Grad. Tio Moteri is favored by older men for its paper filter tips, sweet smell, and added tar.
Could be a coincidence, or the same person has visited Land's End and here. I didn't see any signs of smoking inside though. If people live there, they keep it tidy. This here may also be a smoking spot.
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window. Quite old and grimy from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain. The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out. A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water, the ruins look familiar. A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B. A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B. The red chimney and collapsed back of the four-story tenement in front of the Whirling in Rags, Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 10, the doomed commercial area. The box-shaped silhouette of the Whirling in Rags. Its sloped roof, a tiny fleck of light catches your eye on the rooftop, sunlight reflecting off the upstairs window of Clausia's room.
What? Do you have a line of sight to the window?
What are you talking about? Can't be certain. It's certain.
I can see it. Through the scope of a rifle. The shooter would be prone, lying on a mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure.
Cheek against the cheek rest, hand on the hair trigger, on a calm day like this.
I think we have it. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest.
Affirmative.
Nothing pointed here. Many leads pointed elsewhere.
He looks north, over the fortification, then at the mattress.
Where?
He does not answer, just nods. With his back hunched, he looks around once more and says,
We should move now.
A strange feeling, looking at the water. Maybe you should just wander off into the sea, leave it all, and walk in. With a bottle in your hand. Perhaps there's someone there, under the water, waiting for you. Where it has always been. Maybe you know it's going to hurt. The greasy old.
The offer still stands. Take it. You don't look so good.
You face the concrete wall. There's less light there, in the dark corner. Like a dog, you lie there. The blanket feels cold. The entire room does. Concrete and cold. Minutes pass. Half an hour maybe. The sounds of the sea beyond grow distant. Your eyelids close until you feel yourself standing up in the darkness, right next to the mattress. Slowly, the world begins to hatch from the blackness. It's evening. Sleep. glamorous day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state turns around to face you. She has an airship airbag in her hand. She seems to be in a hurry. Off to advise the Queen of Shest, most likely. This is the Holy Suzerain of Mwindi and Insulinda. Definitely not your wife. You need to talk to her. Think of the historical knowledge you could glean. I don't know, man. What is the Holy Suzerain doing here? Something seems off.
Hey. I'm doing really good, actually. Both professionally and romantically. I've come to a fulfilling and peaceful period in my life. Well, how are you doing, Harry? Oh, don't say that. I know this positive thing sounds stupid to you, Harry, but it works. We all have an obligation to be happy. You too. And you will be. Now. I'm sorry. I was heading to the aerodrome. I just don't have time to... I'm going to Morova. To live there, in Grad. It's 1 million kilometers away, Harry. Might as well be another lifetime. Just my scepter, my globe cruciger, a spare silk gown, a toothbrush, travel documents, the crown of immortality. Oh, this. This is just a wreath. The crown of immortality is made of rarefied light, mana and raw palladium. It was passed on to me by the rulers of late antiquity.
She looks at the suitcase, not knowing what more to say. Then, over her shoulder. Silence. Her nuptial gown flows in the wind, wraps around her holy body.
Anyway. No, Harry. It's just regular skin. I'm not as beautiful as you always thought I was. Let's not get into.
She does not answer. There's that expression again. You have to say something. I'm sorry. I'm foam. All I can do is foam. It's meaningless.
No, Harry. No. I don't want a massive, epic showdown. I want to go to the aerodrome. I have tickets for the 10:20 flight to Morova. Really. We don't have anything to talk about anymore. Every combination of words has been played out. The atoms don't form us anymore. Us. Our love. Our unborn daughters. It's all gone. I have to go to the aerodrome. I have to leave Ravachol and you. And you have to be alone. In hell. Forever. That's just the way it is.
Oh God, whatever you do, don't try to kiss her yet. Not after that. You're still reeling. You'll fall over if you try now.
It's not. But... I don't know why I said but. There is no but. That's it, yes. We've talked about it 1,000,000 times. You will get over it, just like I did. People do. Things will get good for you again.
Where in hell? Stop. You're only making it worse for him. You never help with anything.
It just takes some time. For you, I think it will take something like 20 years, maybe? It was hard for me too, you know? I used to think I couldn't live without you. But I can. Yes. It only took me 1 year, maybe 2. Phew. No, Harry. We can't. We already tried again, and it didn't work.
Is that how it is now? We should just try all good things twice and then give up. By that logic. Not you too.
I don't know. Please. Harry, we can't be together because you're insane.
They're turning moist now. Her eyes. She slowly shakes her head and tries to get a hold of herself, brushing her hands in her gown.
You know what I mean. A little down. You've worked there for so long, you can't even talk like a normal person anymore. It's always lists with you. Questions.
Questions? Did someone say questions?
This is another one, isn't it? We're in a tree right now.
In descending order, usually. It's best to do them like that.
It's not just the lists or trees or whatever. You get sad, Harry. Too sad. People can't get that sad. It's impossible to watch. Other people get sad too, but not like you. You stayed down for too long. You only communicated with encyclopedic trivia. I was so alone. In conclusion, you're ill. You're an old, insane man. And you have to be in hell until the end of your life. And I have to go to Morova. I don't know what you mean. Dolores Day. The morning? I don't understand. Oh my God, Harry, stop. I don't want to hear anything about the morning. Mourning someone who's still alive. Any of that. I can't do that anymore. I'm not 80 years old, I'm 32. People my age are not supposed to mourn. Yes, Harry, I am. Things have gotten much better for me, now that I am the ruler of the known world. Oh God, it's already so late. I have to go, Harry.
A tiny golden watch with red straps around her bony little wrists.
We both said a lot of things. We were very young.
It was her. I can feel it. I can see it in her tender, long fingers, in her wrists. Her hand wrote it, said those things.
As Queen Regnant, I write a lot of letters.
You need to recite it to her, for effect. All of it. No summaries. Yeah, put a stake through your heart. She'll get hurt too. Collateral damage. She won't get hurt. She'll bend out of the way.
Okay, Harry. Okay. It was morning and you slept. The room smelled of cigarettes and Rowans. There was hoarfrost on the ground when I left. It was autumn, the first one we had together. But you have to understand, it was 1,000,000 years ago. No, it was 100 million years ago. I was someone else then, filled to the brim with love for you, hanging on your every word. Oh, Harry, you were the coolest. But I'm no longer that person. This has taken her place. It will devour you. Harry, I will eat your mind.
The light of the video rental shines through her dress now. A DeLorean figure, cut in black, moves below. It's still her. Her legs, her breasts, her hips.
And my crown of immortality? No. You scared her out of me. With your crying, the awful time we wound up having. And the cheap rental flats you could afford. Can't you see? I can never think you're cool again. I can only think that way about new people.
A cheap rental with mold on the walls and the tap dripping. Nothing will. I've been poisoned by newspaper and news. All I can do is scream at them and think of her secretly.
Is there really anything left? If not, we can always repeat one of the things we have already talked about. Talk about it again. If you do not feel like doing that, then you should let me go to the aerodrome.
Your feet still tremble from the steps you took, as if over an enormous distance, standing against her. Her body close to you, radiating more. With your eyes closed, you move your lips on her mouth. She is not kissing you back. Her chest rising like a pillow, warm exhalations against the side of your mouth, her tender soul moving through her lungs. Feels like soft fuzz, a bird covered in down feathers, brushing against your broken capillaries. The world's most precious material, reserved for those she lets close enough to feel it. You are stealing a touch. It's not yours to take. The delicate wreath on her forehead pressing into your temple. The silver is cold from the spring evening air. Her hand does not return the grip. Her body is rigid. A current of unease courses through it. Distrust. For you. The curve of her spine. Her shoulders hunched. She keeps herself stiff, her center guarded from your motions, unresponsive to your guidance. Nothing, just pillows against you, unresponsive, but for the taste of apricots. This was not about failure or success. This was always going to be horror. I should not have suggested it. And you should not have listened to me. The moment is ending. She is going to move her face away from yours. Trying hard not to look at you. When she withdrew, and you held on to her hand, she tried not to look at your face and see the expression there. Brother, you should put me in front of a firing squad. I have no words for how I failed you.
No, Harry. Not yet. There is one more thing you have to see. I'm pregnant. Of course not. I terminated yours. Don't you remember? You poor fuck. Poverty-stricken fuck. Now, go ahead. Ask me more questions. Let's talk about something else.
No, this has to end. Do the last one. More questions. Ask more.
I have to, Harry. Really, I've already missed the 8:30. I'm gonna go now.
I was wrong. You don't have power over her anymore. You shouldn't have said that. I am wrong about everything. You should go on without me.
No. That would only be painful and dull. At the aerodrome, life, love, and laughter are waiting for me. At the cafeteria, dust, hell, and tragic comedy. Light, life, culture. It's so much better than here. Everything here reminds me of you, and the horrible times we had. The nights we stayed up fighting for our dying love. I have to wipe it all off me and be clean again. I want to be a good person again. Not this. Not what you made me into. That was someone else. I betrayed her, overwrote her, and I'm happier for it. And I'm really going now. The time is up. I must be on the 10:20 flight. Yes. I won't see you, but you will see me. Oh, Harry. This is a dream. Can't you see? I'm already in Morova by now. Who knows how long ago this happened? A year? 2? 5 years ago? Right here, tomorrow night. Once this dream starts happening, it keeps happening. 3 times a week, at least. And Harry, it really, really looks like it started happening again. There's the video rental. I'm suffocatingly beautiful and young, and I smell of tutti frutti chewing gum, like I did that time when I asked you for forgiveness, after leaving you the first time, so long ago. Oh yes, this is real darkness. It's not death or war or child molestation. Real darkness has love for a face. The first death is in the heart, Harry. See you tomorrow.
You're up quick. How was your sleep? Okay.
tracksuit trousers leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp.
The what now? I can't hear you. I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position.
The position sounds like a hiding place.
Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up. My eyesight? Yes. Helps me see all the shit. I did. And you opened it. How? The boat engine. On the water. It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done. It's a Triangong 446.
Southeast Samaran made. Exotic. Must be defunct too. No modern rifle manufacturer of that name springs to mind.
A Samaran rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune. Military aid.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
You heard me. It's good now. Like chalk, white from the ball.
The lieutenant pulls his pistol from the holster.
You are a glorified night watchman. This is a service rifle. I can only lay it down before an enemy commander of corresponding rank.
No. Put it down now, sir.
Or you're gonna blow my brains out before you question me. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
Like an amputated limb in the sand. He stares on, his wrinkled mouth moving without a sound. A strange sadness, like a song. The old man pulls back the hood of his plastic cape and looks up into the sky. His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand, frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangong, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangong, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao.
Worn. Personalized even. Looks like this weapon has seen a lot of use, hasn't it, sir?
No response from the old man. The plastic cape around his shoulders rustles in a small bout of wind.
Jacketed. Military-grade ammunition. Stable in flight. Good for hitting something that's very, very far away.
The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. Some kind of involuntary response. Something is slightly off with his motorics. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession in time.
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
The Commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? Your holdover from the...
From the Insulindian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the Commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
No. I've been on other islands, too. I was an resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago. I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too. Well done. I won't explain it to a minion of capital. It's not an island, Dwat. It's a defensive fortification of the Commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender. The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing, against the whole world. Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone. Sure you are. You're RCM. Answer me. Who calls an operation against 50 million people Deathblow? Iblis. The black-eyed angel.
Shaitan Ahura, the darkened one.
How does anyone survive? I steal. Supplies, vegetables. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
He does seem frail, gaunt for his age, more like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
You also have Druamine.
There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. administer morphine. Moribund. I have been running out of that stuff. I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of... I don't even know what. Inferno?
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on, more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting. It was hard in the tens. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequency's dead. At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals. So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right? Useless now. Rusted away.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across.
The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys. A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground. I do. They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. Let's You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste dans le Monde. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit.
No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army. Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a knight philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology. He nods slowly, then another tremor.
"43 years and 10 months. It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41.
Always waiting. For her to return.
Her who?
Girl child. Revolution. Always. No. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
So that's why he's the deserter.
What can I do? There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce. I've used it for killing people.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay, okay. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while. But this is what you live for. This is the shit. The great serotonin jackpot. The solution. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
What did I just say?
What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now. Nothing comes to you. Silence. His black eyes look at you. And in them, a chill, like electricity running up your spine, crawling into your skull.
All is not as it seems.
Detective.
I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer.
And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
The who now? The worm there. In the monster armor. It is him, isn't it? An ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession. The gun. The murder weapon is the perfect opener. Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistol. I've seen you prance around with that, jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it? .46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. We have it. This is it. Good. This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder. I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession. You've been here a long time, Mr. Dras. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part.
Because it's a sniper's nest, you stupid fuck. Radio Gosh is right. You have worms in your brain.
Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Classia's bedroom. Now they're gonna come up. Yes, ouch. So good it hurts. Those were not modern prints.
everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
Show me the souls, please, Mr. Dross.
Fucking imbecile.
The maker is called Sensory. You see their V-shaped logo, but can't make out the size. These are not the unusual horizontal pattern souls you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the soul.
Simpler? No. This is another loose thread you will never connect. The lieutenant raises his brow.
People change shoes, detective. It was you. You were there, weren't you? Crawling and whirling in the rags. What were you doing? Some kind of reconnaissance? Preparing the scene? Listening in on her?
Trying to rack your brains. You're desperate to report something back to your masters. They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood. Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you, while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
I had them in my sights, both of them, him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth. I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her. Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
Yes.
And you were looking at Dan, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
I'm always looking.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
And if you don't like it?
Click.
Think of it as a form of critique.
He will not stop now. These dialectical materialist types never do. Exploit it. You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
Them. Fucking. I didn't like that. Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself, drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore. And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything. Since she came to Martinez, I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
And beautiful.
Her passport and tickets to Villiers. And from there to Cachet Brut.
In the free state of Semenine, hidden away at the edge of the earth, near the Pale.
Yes, after she'd gone. It was a submersible. Well made, actually.
Sloppy. We should have gotten her to tell us about this. Did you take the documents?
No, I put them back. Why would I take them? I'm not going to film. Oh, I mean... I did. She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks, and a body hard and lean and bruised all over, black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook, on the run. Revachol's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook from the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses, forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
The bruises. You can't make that out in a scope.
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
It quickly comes to you.
Oh, yes. Cutting those drugs of hers into little lines with a knife. Masturbating.
Everything in him fills with impossible longing, all at once.
Did you make that hole?
With a clip-point knife. Like that, too? Yes. Bending like a bow against the glass. I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny. Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union Box window.
Her.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement.
Where is she? I haven't seen her there for days. I know she's gone. Locked up or on the run. She kept staring into the scope, you know. In the end, this last week, at the fort, like she knew. Like she knew I was here. It doesn't matter.
Midtown, across the Bay of Revachol, cold rain falls on 40-story towers. Above them, Lausanne Central Aerodrome, a cocoon suspended in the grey sky by a web of suspension wiring encircled by hybrid aircraft. On the platform, a young woman is withdrawing from amphetamines, barbiturates, and alcohol. Yet still she smiles among the crowd, among the great ghosts of the city she's leaving, for another, far south. Smaller, distant, hidden, not like the great chandelier she sees sparkle in the night below her. Street lights, towers, tenements and water, and across it a dark strip of ruins, barely visible if she didn't squint her eyes. He knew she knows. She was looking at the island, figuring it out, day by day, cigarette by cigarette.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years? Enough. Take him in. Bend his arms behind his back and end this.
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back. The familiar put of hatred.
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst. Because of the racists, everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries. Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it. Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class. Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals, like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs. The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Koyamorang, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children. That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead. We did good when we pushed him under that horse car. If only, in the 30s, those disco whores...
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter. There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people might be worth investigating.
Whores. Syphilis is a disease Philip III contracted in a whorehouse. The statue is an abomination. The bacteria entered his brain and made him squander trillions on sparkling wine, cocainum, and monuments of himself. His son, Philip IV, the insane, contracted syphilis in the womb.
That is technically possible, although Philippe III was not actually syphilitic. He was just mad.
And he still went on to govern Revachol for 25 years. We lost 2 million lives toppling that mode of government. And those grotesque statues, too. Hundreds of them. What a keen remark. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's still there. Do you know why? That's right. Some advertising cockroaches erected a cynical deconstruction of it. We tore it down with honest working-class plastic explosives. And there it is again. Art is a bourgeois establishment. It's an affront to humanity. Every gallery should be bulldozed, and the artists should all be given 30 years of hard labor in Yekokata. Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat, placating the masses.
Disappointment, so personal. He displays a familiarity with the union's top brass.
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation, the smart one.
Edgar.
He talks a big game about uprising and social base. They must have sent the smart one to some university in Le Jardin, where it's alienation this and hegemony that. First against the wall with him.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to.
I haven't approached anyone. I hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains. Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left, wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things. 20 years ago, neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
That's around the time the Clears came to power.
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Marzoff. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzoff. Oh, and charity too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought. Let me be here. The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
You know why I killed that fucker, Dwat. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
Okay, he didn't do the hang the man for them, but he's insinuating something. The connection comes to you like a splash of cold water. Dark, cold water. He acknowledges it. Here we go. A twist behind the dark bend.
That bourgeois cow, Tiffin Holly was her name. Licked the rich man's hand every time he came to town. Never seen a labor leader so hot on mutual cooperation. And money. She liked that too. That Holly was a real bridge builder and a deal maker. Called in, they say, on the eve of battle. Ran away. Vanished like a piss stain.
No, that's not quite it, is it?
Did she? They say her daughter called in, not her personally. But that wasn't really her daughter, was it?
No, I guess it was not. She couldn't make the call herself.
Here it is, the bend in the river.
Because she was dead. The cow caught a bullet in her right lung. Fell into the canal grasping her tit and drowned. Or bled? Hard to say. It was a sloppy job. And a moving target. She was going home, waddling, dressed in yellow, drunk like she often was. The ruins are black around her, and she had a yellow leather bag under her arm. she tried to cross the canal, heading home to Grand Couronne or Betancourt, someplace like that, where they build those new bâtiments for the people who flourish in the hell around her and the ruins. Someone did. Or maybe the cow just fell. The past is blurry. All I know is nothing changed. Not in the material base, not in the hegemony. There was no uprising. Just words. The Union fizzled, sogged. Nothing came of it. Nothing.
Edgar didn't keep his part of the deal. If you were to testify to this, give the RCM something on Edgar, you could walk. We would strike everything you've done and process you as a POW. You were in a war. You were on assignment. We could even extradite you to the Samaran People's Republic.
A degenerate worker state. Goat shit. No, thank you. I'm Revacholian. My days are short. I will rot away here, in a moral intern cell. I will not testify to anything. I saw it happen, and I liked it. That's all I have to say. I didn't live and fight for 40 years to end up as a collaborationist. I've heard it on Channel 8, 40 AM, Radio Revachol, late night. Everyone is a blobber in this world. Everyone betrays everyone. They're all already locked up for betrayal. The best ones, the ones with heart, were slaughtered, trampled. Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June. Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot's plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A Patank maniac race traitor. I remember him. I remember him from La Noce. Not him personally, his make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the Liberals came to their rescue. We missed one. That one. Fat and plump, like a pheasant, just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross, shoot me. Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bonbon melt in my mouth.
Save the treat for later?
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day. The blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think, no, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock, René. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one for him. Haven't seen him around lately, strutting around. Must be down with arthritis. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood. No. I waited too long. I waited too long and now he's dead?
I'm sorry, Mr. Dross. I understand you knew him for a long time.
They're all dead now. Fuck it.
If he really wanted to kill him so bad, he would have done. There must have been 1,000 black days on these islands. His hell self-hailing.
You think I haven't seen people die? It's all I've seen them do. Fuck and die. All the other plans we had. To love, to colonize the Pale. It's all fucked.
He's not okay. This is just another black day in a row of black days. Something strange is keeping him together, making him endure.
Glad we talked about what? Real music. It's La Revacholière, you shit-licking bougie dog. Chanson de soldat of the black and whites.
You need to address that remark.
It is the anthem of the world revolution. One of 3. In Grad, they sang Brave Children, favorites of history. And in Sinyao, it was some Samaran shit, I guess. How did it go? Something about shooting rabbits. I don't know. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It's gone now.
He waves erratically with his hand, annoyed that he can't remember. A little tremor passes through him. What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. For a man who spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild. Indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated. It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system. You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are lucid, keen even, not senile. Is it some kind of substance damage? Like he's addicted to something? Not only the painkillers he's clearly on.
No. I won't be stuffed full of shit like the rest of this city.
You said you take painkillers.
I take them to cope with pain. The people of this city use painkillers because they have pain. Untreated illnesses, not enough money for a greedy doctor.
He is indeed very lucid at times. It's not a downer, rather an upper, judging by his snaps.
Like some kind of decadent rock star. No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people.
There it is again, erratic hand motions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course. Could it be a symptom of overdosing on something? Something even you have not tried? Keep your eyes peeled.
I ain't going anywhere.
The old man stares despondently at the logs. It's like he's forgotten you're there.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
The wind picks up. The silence on the water is broken all around you. Little shivers of waves appear. The lieutenant continues, like an incantation.
Your wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But... No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead. Pupils are dilated too. Eyes getting blacker and blacker.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat. Not really. We could escort him to the pier, then either one of us can take him inland while the other stays here, but...
But then, who watches him while you're coming back here?
You come back for me? How about I go and send a boat back for you?
What is this farce? This is a fucking farce. I can't.
Lillian, you could ask her maybe. You thought you heard something, but it's just the reeds.
Maybe we could all fit in there. This is no harmless old man.
This fucking world. This world. What is this?
No, listen. Listen now.
No, it would take a whole day on this island. You go and transport the prisoner. I'll be here. I can escort him to the pier with you.
This world? What are you talking about? Is this... us?
The wind is cold from the east. Your skin is crawling suddenly. A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence.
What are you talking about? There's nothing there.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head. You feel your legs shaking under you and your gun hand rise instinctively.
Tell me what you see, damn it. I can't make out one small thing in the reeds.
I can see it.
4 simple words, thank God. If he can see, then you're not insane. But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence, its limbs long and slender.
Be very, very careful.
The creature stands on long stilt-like legs, antennae hanging from his head like a woman's hair, white and curled at the tips. It is no more than 5 steps away from you. Reed-like tufts stick out of its joints. As the insect moves its forearms, it produces a faint hiss, like a reel-to-reel machine spinning after the tape breaks. Slowly, with your breath held, you take 2 small steps toward the phasmid. The creature lets out a series of ultrasonic clicks that swarm around your head like swallows. Hissing and clicking, it extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you. You're right below it now, looking up at the colossal chitin of its white limbs. The head of the creature is crowned by reeds, and its eyes are like small droplets of water. The insect stops its stridulation, seeming to observe you. Below its crown of reeds, little pinprick eyes detect motion, glittering. The world stands still around you. Suddenly, there is silence. As you do, the invertebrate comes to life, its limbs moving independent of each other, as if each has a mind of its own. They are white, like stalks of porcelain, knitting above you, praying to you. Sets of complex eyes follow you, droplets of dew on either side of the head. No reply. A total ancient silence comes from its mouth, along with what appears to be some kind of foam. The stridulations of its limbs continue all around you. You were right. Little bubbles form on the mouth parts of the creature, on its segmented lower lip. It looks to be foaming, slowly. The foam is white. Then, the faintest smell, like you've never felt before. Like burnt roses.
Careful. It may be poisonous.
The foam slowly turns a darker shade, like burnt caramel, as the insect moves its mouth parts, masticating. The little bubbles begin to burst, one by one, letting out that same smell, like summer burning. Nothing. Its simple eyes give off no flicker of light. No one is home. The twitches of its limbs are insect-like, unknowable, perhaps without substance even. It's spread too thin among its limbs, performing incomprehensible operations on the world. And you, looking at it, mouth slightly open. You cannot even imagine what it thinks.
Okay.
There is no change in the insect's motion while it's being aimed by the camera. It remains fixated on you.
In 3. If it moves, you jump back. I'll shoot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
The shrill flash of the camera cuts the air like the blade of a sword. The phasmid freezes in its bright light. Head turned toward the lieutenant, hypnotized by the flash. It stands frozen before you.
I got it.
A shudder pulses through the creature's limbs. It jolts back to life, like a record continuing where it left off, in a swaying, praying motion. Even the small black pearls of its eyes do not stray from you.
I exist. Tell me what it's like for you. Then I will tell you what it's like for me. Fire? Where? I do not have fire inside me. In me, there is not even blood, but lymph, like sap from a one palm. Now, I will tell you what it's like for me. For me, it is a series of half-lit images, a kind of darkness, being intruded upon, transient, dim, moist. Shapes of plants and animals, and internal sensations, a swarm of sounds, Tiny vibrations on the inside of my forearms all speak of complexities totally beyond my understanding. I am at the end of a narrow funnel, weightless, so light it only feels like something to be me. In truth, perhaps I'm nothing. I certainly do not have a soul, and if I did, it would never burn. Few of us can begin to imagine the horror of you, with all of creation reflected in your forebrain. It must be like the highest of hells, a kaleidoscope of fire and writhing glass. Eternal damnation. Even when you're sleeping, and when you wake, you carry it around on your neck, with eyes open that cannot help but swallow more behind the mirror. I feel great, mute empathy for you. That must be incredibly hard. The arthropods are in silent and meaningless awe of you. Know that we're watching. When you're tired, when the vision spins out of control, the insects will be looking on, rooting for you. And when you fall, we will come to raise you up, bud from you, banner-like, blossom from you and carry you apart in a sky funeral, in honor of your passing. But not me, because I'm just a leaf eater.
Detective.
So am I. I was born to detect sucrose rewards and semiochemicals. What were you born to detect? He's in a bad state, deteriorating fast now. He thinks I am beneficial to him, but I am not. I only quicken his deterioration. Very slowly, and only because he won't go away. It is meant to keep them from noticing me, to interfere with the pictures in their heads. But he has looked at me for too long, and I am destroying him. No, you are awake. I am real. Light is forming me. This is real. Not even the birds know that. Not even the water lily. You can also eat it. If it's a leaf, you can put it in your mouth. Yum yum. Or read.
Wait, so...
Yes, they don't mind. Yes, I once cloned myself and ate the little ones. It was winter, and I woke up at the wrong time. It was an accident. I am an unknown species of the order Phantasmodia, endemic to the Insulandian Insula. For the last 350 years, I have hidden in plain sight, masquerading as the reeds, molding, cloning myself, unfolding at night to play with trash bins and boys. I went unnoticed by the first settlers and the land surveyors of the suzerain. Also, by the soldiers of the revolution and the officials of the occupation. Even the Seminese islanders who came here first, but did not stay, have not seen me. I have stayed hidden through 4 forms of government and 2 scientific revolutions, until I was accidentally discovered by a detective of the city's militia in Rebelshaw, district of Martinez, March 51. No, you are. The moral of our encounter is, I am a relatively medium life form, while it is you who are a total extreme madness. A volatile simian nerve system ominously new to the planet. The Pale too came with you. No one remembers it before you. The Nidarians do not. The radially symmetrics do not. There is an almost unanimous agreement between the birds and the plants that you are going to destroy us all. It is a nervous shadow cast into the world by you, eating away at reality. A great, unnatural territory. Its advent coincides with the arrival of the human mind. You're a violent and irrepressible miracle. The vacuum of cosmos and the stars burning in it are afraid of you. Give me enough time, you will wipe us all out and replace us with nothing. Just by accident. We suspect it will be something like the oxygen holocaust that wiped out anaerobic life 2.6 billion years ago, when organisms first started breathing. Only much worse.
Instead of air, you exhale thoughts. There are no trees that eat thoughts.
Everything your eyes touch goes back there, behind the nose mirror. What if you blink? Are we still here? Please don't blink. What if he misplaces us all one day, or just forget? No, you're only thinking it now. This is a revelation. So it is already happening. Soon, one of you will close your eyes and open them to see that none of this ever existed.
It doesn't look like that, no. You're just staring at it. Okay. Is it somehow related to the case? I think you should back away from the unstudied species now.
No, there is one more. Thank you. I also have one more thing to say to you. That woman, turn from the ruin. Turn and go forward. Do it for the working class. She was middle class. It doesn't take a 3-meter stick insect to tell you that.
As you're turning away, the phasmid mirrors your movements, stepping on the water, the long limbs carrying its feather weight without breaking its surface. And just like that, it's gone, skating away across the sea's calm mirror like a skipping stone, leaving nothing but circles on the water. And something under it, in the place it stood, bobbing there, among the reeds, a collection of items.
It's gone. Apparently, yes, like a water strider. Only, I've never seen anything like that in my life. Looks like a nest of some sort. We should have a look.
What now?
Our suspect is not looking so good. We need to check on him.
What is it? What do you want from me? I can't go.
Something is very wrong with him now.
See.
Mr. Doras?
The man does not respond. He keeps staring, black eyes glazed over and bulging from their sockets, his gap-toothed mouth shaking. Like an addict of some terrible substance. A light shiver passes him, followed by nothing. His hands are trembling, and he breathes slowly.
He's going into some kind of psychomotor immobility. The good news is, this solves our transportation problem, doesn't it, Mr. Dross?
The trembling mouth appears to sigh.
Between this and the broken tire he's used for a boat, I think it's safe to leave him here, while we go and get help. It will need to be medical first, I'm afraid. Old age and shock. The appearance of the fazmid, in conjunction with the stress of the arrest. He spent his entire life here. For him to leave would be...
He stares into the reeds. Your words don't stir anything in him. Perhaps you should. Nothing. Just dull staring. Not even rage left, wherever he is.
If Kuno kicked it into the sea, as he said he did, the ebb would put it back here. This makes sense. Mr. Dross could have picked it up. Or the fazmid even. If it did, this is incredible.
I lost.
He turns his eyes to the reeds again, as he's done so many times. Beige and white stripes.
He lost the scope. Then it somehow made its way over there. With the help of a magpie fazmid. This sight is a T9, Mr. Dross. Was it attached to the rifle when you made the shot?
Silence. Not even a sigh. The plastic cape flaps around his face in a gust of wind. His back is slouched and his mouth open. The blacks of his eyes are receding. His pupils are returning to normal.
We should think about getting back to the mainland. To get help. He'll be safe here. If we don't take too long.
dry grass crackles under your feet as you stop. Far away, birds' wings touch the still surface of the sea. The flock of quail departs, now more than 100 meters away, 102, 105. On the islet, there is almost no wind, just the light movement of air through the reeds, bulrushes swaying on the waterline, long dried leaves chafing against each other, like a silent orchestra tuning at the beginning of some major work, of great importance to the few who attend. A silent hiss, sea air moving through the needles of a pine tree. The faraway roar of the city, distant like today's dream. Before it, the sound of sand, the low tide filtered through its grains, a bird tending to its feathers. A low hum. The air slowly moves through a concrete box, through its ancient slits and cracks, resonating, hollow, a big building. Air flows out of a pillbox window. There is very little there. The air cossets flowers on a meadow. Absolute silence. Reeds motionless. Bulrushes motionless. Col de Mamadakwa.
Yes? I have. Is that why we're stopping?
The chain trails off into the ocean, connecting the island to the supply depot on the coast.
Ah, yes, so it seems. For bringing munitions to the island, maybe? And supplies? You could also lock the bay when you raise the chain.
As a defensive measure, lock it off that side of the bay.
From enemies of the commune of Revachol. This sea fort was a revolutionary fortification, I believe.
The skiff is swaying on the waves by the dock.
Let's. We are done here.
The skiff rocks gently under your weight as you get in. The ride back is uneventful and quiet. But for the sound of conversation on the water, there is someone inland waiting for you. You reach the jetty and climb out of the skiff.
Look what the tide brought him. Harry, you're bleeding all over the place. You're half dead.
Whatever this is, it is completely unimportant compared to what you've just seen. This is the man with sunglasses from the Whirling in Rags. But where are his sunglasses?
Hello, I'm Trent Heilerstein. I believe we've met on several occasions.
I'm your goddamn partner, Jean Vicomar, and this is your special task force. Or what's left of it. Special Consultant Trond Heidelstam, Battle Officer Judith Minot.
Hi.
We've come to scrape what's left of you off the pavement.
Lieutenant Kim Kisoragi, Prison 57. We've just come from the island, where our investigation led us. We might need your help with something later.
As if he recalled that he's in fact a decorated police lieutenant and not a naughty boy.
But this is clearly a departmental matter, so I'm going to leave you to discuss it among yourselves.
It's good to meet you, Lieutenant Kitsuhagi.
Letting the lieutenant know he shouldn't feel embarrassed over the shitstorm that's about to befall you.
Ari, we want to help you. Trent, I believe this is where you come in?
I don't quite know what I'm doing here. I was asked to participate as an expert. I think I need to manage your expectations a little. I'm at best an enthusiast in cognitive science. My background is in something else entirely. I engage in neurology on a merely theoretical level. In fact, I should probably get going.
No, Trant, it's too late. You're part of this shit now. What have you got to say for yourself, shit kid?
What does he have to say for himself? He left you to catch the bullets. Shit, kid. What an interesting moniker.
You. Shit kid, that's you.
Maybe you've deserved it.
The cafeteria manager you fucked over told us where you went.
And people on the street helped us too, with your whereabouts.
You're a legend among the drunks, Harry. A legendary local drunk. God damn it, Harry. You told us to fuck off. You said we're cramping your style. Your detective god. Fuck everything. All we burn. Detect or die.
It wasn't like that.
Fuck you, Harry. We didn't know there was gonna be a tribunal, did we? You were crying hysterically. You were drunk, breaking things, being emotionally abusive. You said we were going into the abyss. None of us wanted to see the abyss, so we fucked off. Like you told us to. The bells aren't ringing because you have brain damage, Detective God. Trant, this is where you come in. How bad is it?
Well, he doesn't have visible tremors, he talks without slurring, he can drive a boat, he's standing, reasoning. All good signs, but complete retrograde amnesia, episodic and semantic.
Meaning, you forgot both who you are and the definitions of money, Isola, Pell, and so on.
As displayed in the station call, our interactions with him, and I don't want to be a snitch, but also mine with him before when Harry did not seem to know who I was. It's all very interesting.
Interesting?
Yes, interesting. I have my theories, but I would like to hear Harry's thoughts first. Harry, what do you think happened to you? Neurologically, psychologically, and why not socioeconomically?
He is. He's getting better. And I can confirm that he drank a lot of alcohol prior to it happening.
I believe he drank. People do that, especially this one. What they don't do is forget their whole life because of drinking.
But Detective Vigmer, he has blanked out before. Yes, a couple of times. After some of the more serious benders. One was after the two drunks case, the other when we looked into that mural.
So you don't remember not remembering. Beautiful.
Interesting. So at first he dipped his toes into it, prepared. That's where he would have gotten the idea, yes. Practice. And then he used alcohol to get there, so to speak.
What do you mean?
Well, here's my theory. What if this is an absolutely normal reaction to the world we're living in? What if this is not a significant anomaly at all? Something to be explained, approached as a defect? Look at the sensory input here. Look at the ruins, the neon. Listen to the radio, the multitudes, the people. Live here for 40 years. As a police detective, he's like a magnetic reader on the world tape, to borrow a known metaphor. Harry's been pushed flat against it. Total input. Hardwired to the free market. He just needed for its end.
Okay, Trent, thank you. That's absolutely meaningless. I'm glad we brought you. Will he or will he not be able to work in the major crimes unit? Is he a cretin now? I want to know that.
He's not a cretin, and he is able to do work. If not in his previous leadership role, then as a line detective.
Now nothing. Now we're just going to stand here. No, now we discuss that. What the fuck did you do to a motor carriage? Why is it there, Harry? Ah, so refreshing. He just admits it. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for destroying 45,000 real of police property that's coming out of everyone's payslip. It doesn't matter. Your badge, Harry. Show me your badge.
In a rush to demonstrate your badge, your eager fingers can't sustain a grip on the smooth plastic, and the badge slips out of your hand. You juggle the badge for a second, unsuccessfully, and it lands on the ground, some 2 meters away. Ouch! You strained your elbow trying to catch that stupid thing. Damn it.
He found it. He found it, Jean. It's his badge.
And your gun?
As if having your badge and gun are natural states, not achievements. What is it with all these material objects?
He has it. And he didn't drop it. You're drunk like a bum, Harry. Put that thing away before you kill someone. You were never supposed to lose it in the first place. Not lost is your gun's natural state, you drunk bum. Well, you let the suspect escape, glacier something, because you were too drunk to assess a flight risk.
We've read the reports. Lieutenant Kitsuhagi's. We know.
Oh, well, if she was nice. I'm not even gonna get into the other suspect, the one who shot herself, in the head. Or the fact that you're Evra Claire's little peony now, doing I don't know what for him. That's small-time stuff. That's nothing. That's a humorous anecdote. Compared to the 7 people who were gunned down, the streets are literally red with blood, Harry. It was fucking mass murder.
He did everything he could. We did everything we could. The company hired unvetted mercenaries. Lieutenant Dubois got between them and the locals. He did so at considerable risk to his person. Remember, he was shot. We stopped an execution, not a negotiation. The loss of life was minimal compared to what it could have been. Don't make this harder for yourself.
Thank you for the input, Lieutenant Kitsuragi. I didn't mean to suggest you didn't handle the situation. You've spent the week with him on this case. What is your take?
On the case?
On Lieutenant Yefretor Dubois.
Well, the drinking, the gun losing, also losing the badge. That's all true. Although he has not been drinking on the job this week.
See?
1 week.
Then there's the self-flagellation issue. He likes to apologize, profusely, making it sound like he's guilty of at least first-degree murder. It's not a good communication strategy for an officer. It's worrying, especially considering his political views. Detective Dubois is, as you may know, a Mazovian socio-economist. He wants to liquidate the ruling class, which, again, for a police officer, is a little odd.
You should yell something. Yes, let's let the big boys talk.
And then there's the motor carriage in the sea, something I was not present for. But despite all this, he is a great detective, one of the best I have seen, in fact. He can talk human beings into telling him anything, and he doesn't stop. In all the time I've spent with him, he has not once stopped working on the case. He is tireless, madly driven. And he solved it, near perfectly. In 1 week we have a confession, a murder weapon, and the perpetrator. Locked on the island right now, awaiting transportation. He apprehended a revolutionary brigade who stayed hidden for 50 years, ever since the revolution, who's probably committed other murders over those years. Oh, and he also discovered a new species.
A new species?
A colossal stick insect. It was on the island, camouflaged as the reeds. It unfolded from the reeds. I think we may be dealing with the Insulindian phasmid.
He takes out the photo of the phasmid and shows it to the officers across the yard. The wind blows, flapping the glossy rectangle in his hand. You hear gasps beneath the howling of the wind.
As you can see, it's about 3 meters tall. In fact, we think it may be the largest land invertebrate ever discovered.
Fucking hell is that? Is this somehow connected to the case?
The killer did not seem to be aware of the phasmid's presence. Exhibiting a strange, atypical dementia, he fell into a stupor after its appearance. He became near catatonic.
So it is connected.
I must say, this is absolutely extraordinary. I don't even have words for it.
Yes, it really does make it hard to fire the drunk.
This is a very, very sad man who has just seen something that's made him forget his sadness. Now you make your case. Now is the time. Now or never.
Lilianovich, a revolutionary matronym. Of course, excuse me, I just thought it was noteworthy.
He wasn't quite sure about the straggler before he heard this detail. It must have convinced him.
Jealousy. I thought this Lilianovich was an old man, to have been hiding for 50 years, like 70-something.
A strange psychosexual fascination, the result of spending all this time in solitude on the islands of this bay. And trauma too. He himself gave a political reason. In his mind, he had killed an enemy combatant. Also, we have a sniper's nest with full view of the room in which the mercenary died, right on the island, and 2 officers on the scene that Mr. Dross confessed to.
It's a clean win.
Oh, it's way more than that.
Get over yourself. You're not a perfectionist. You're a cop and you did a good job, with a lot of help from Lieutenant Kitsuragi. And none of this can hide the smell of booze on the wind.
God damn it. Doesn't it ever leave? It is there, like in your bones or something. It will pass in time.
This is a conversation for when we are no longer out in the open, in Martinez, where Evrard and Edgar Clare have ears everywhere.
And eyes, too. Your return from the island must not have gone unnoticed.
Understood, of course.
I would prefer not to partake in anything union-related, for political neutrality.
This has to be good stuff for him to backpedal out of it at first mention.
Female? What makes you think so?
You had to see it. It had the subdued colors of a female, and the nesting behavior too, I think.
Incredible. Were there eggs in the nest?
Not as far as I could see. There were other things there, though.
Actually, you know, this would indicate it was a male. This is far from anything in my field, but I think such nests are called bowers. They are for attracting mates. Of course, as I said, I'm only guessing. I didn't see it. Must be robust if it can move a whole helmet with its limbs.
Yes, but also reed-colored, beige and brown, a little green on the outside. After unfolding from a single stalk, it still retained parts that looked like reed tufts on its limbs.
Incredible. The PR value of this is exceptional. Carp discovers new species. Maybe even discovers the Insulindian phasmid. No, that's too much.
This would really help with some of the problems we've been having.
Absolutely, this is great. This does not say vigilante murderers to me at all. This says science, news, human interest. You know, it's a really good thing you have that photo.
Without it,
You're doing good here. Perhaps only for a moment, but still. Quit while you're ahead? Or no?
yes. Fallen through a gap in a boardwalk. Drunk.
The body was transported to Precinct 41, our morgue. I had Tilbrook and Mullins take care of funeral arrangements and family stuff.
You're not the only cop in the world, Harry. This all comes back to us.
Still, good work with the missing person, Detective.
It's still a point for you. No denying it.
I don't want to, but you discovered a new species and solved the murder. So I have to, Jude.
Anything that ends the trial is okay with me.
Agreed. The public relations potential of this is too valuable to let go.
Okay. We have vehicles in the square, and the perpetrator needs to be taken into custody. Let's go.
Now you will finally get to know who you are. The man looks westward, impatiently, jingling his car keys in his pocket.
Who are you? You're a gym teacher, Harry. Well, obviously you're not a gym teacher anymore, but...
Before you were a cop, you were a gym teacher in Coron. It's getting really cold outside. Should we maybe...
Harry, it explains everything. The running around, the jumping, the bicep girth, your inexplicable facial hair. Some of your more old-school wording choices. Your posture, even.
Also, this guy. Just everything about this guy.
In your 20s or late 20s, you've really let yourself go since then. Yes, you taught gym in Cool. I believe that's the term. Taught gym at a high school. You were a high school gym teacher.
The smell of sweat and glue. The worn floorboards. Coudon is just east of Jamrock. It was a short walk every morning to the baseball field or the sports building.
High school. Harry, your goings-on with Kuno, Andre, Acel, the whole thing on the ice. That's why you are so juvie.
The regular. You found some chick. She inspired you to fight the big fight. Be more than you are. All that.
You, every morning, walking from Voyager Road to teach gym. She, leaving for the academy with her spring coat on. The air filled with the smell of smoke and raspberries and incredible hope. An ocean full of hope.
I knew it. I knew no normal human being can run like that. He's an honest-to-God gym teacher.
It's not a mystery. Some chick fucked you over. Also, you were drunk.
You really went with it too. Really maximized the damage.
Dora something. Dora England. Yeah, you mentioned the name.
Not Dora Dubois.
No one is married anymore. This is Revachol. God, I don't know. 6 years ago, she was way before my time.
6 years and you haven't gotten over it. What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, or 7. You're not doing too good there. It's an old man thing. 2 old years equals 1 normal year. That and Dorangalon really tore you a new one. A big one. Incredibly bangable. She was extremely fuckable, Harry. Gorgeous. A gorgeous bourgeois woman. Wayfish. Like a Welkin, basically.
Snow Welkin. Blonde Welkin. Heartbreak Welkin. Pain Welkin.
I've only seen a picture, but it's obvious you formed a real spiritual connection with how pretty she was. One you never recuperated from.
Look, the sun is about to go down. It's time to go.
I think she taught in the Académie des Arts, east of the river. Way east. Hard to say which came first, the middle-class chick or the drink. Egg and the chicken kind of thing. My point is, you need to see a psychiatrist about this shit. Not a psychologist. Several degrees harder. Is there something harder than a psychiatrist? A forensic psychiatrist? Go talk to that. No. You're too unstable to work for a mob boss. You're suicidal, Harry. No mob boss would take you.
I assure you, I wouldn't consult for a corrupt unit.
He would immediately backpedal out of it. I told you it's not that bad.
Us? We're the bloody murder station, haven't you heard? We're the bad guys. No one likes us.
That's not true. Jamrock is too big for one precinct. You are just understaffed, and everyone respects the 41st. You have Captain Price.
Thank you, Lieutenant. You're being kind. It is an understaffed station and the district is too big, which is why we need to...
Get back to it. We left Torsen and McLean to run the Sea Wing. It's not good. Mac the Torso Torsen and Chester McLean. They're not fit to run a wing. Believe me. Things are shaky as it is.
They are damn iconic though, Torsen and McLean.
Yeah, not like us. Two clinically depressed old men. Where's the contrast here? We are garbage. God. There are 4 wings, Harry. A, B, C, and D. We're in C. It's made of losers and clockpunchers. You and I reconceptualized it as a task force. It was a mistake.
There's also a lot of outside help involved, not only me. Other losers too.
Ptolemy Price? He's the son of the old Price, one of the founders of the RCM.
He's one of the most highly regarded men in the force. You're lucky.
Somewhere under the curved roof of a former silk factory shaped like a ladybird with 2 chimneys, Police Captain Ptolemy Price sits behind a heavy wooden desk. Resident medic Nix Gottlieb pours him coffee. It's silent in the captain's office. They speak of change, the city, the tension on the streets. They speak of the events of April and the blood on the streets in May.
So he remembers that. Yes, there may have been a raid on some churches. It wasn't good press.
Shooting up churches never is. I was out of town, to be clear.
Our enemies were hiding in a church, to the best of our information. That's it. I'm not talking about this anymore. Your security clearance is shit tier right now. You have to wait for it to go up.
He means it. The RCM and its enemies will not be discussed on this coast. Your clearance will not go up while you're within earshot of the Union headquarters.
Okay, it's not the bloody murder station. It's an old converted silk mill with green desk lamps and a coffee corner. A lot of good people work there, hard, every day.
Jamrock is the largest ghetto in Rivershall. Faubourg, technically, but it's divided into 11 districts. Jamrock only has us.
The press will blow over. Jamrock is lucky to have you, and it's often considered to be the greatest of the districts. You're lucky to have it.
Thank you again, Lieutenant.
Well, first I will go back to my station and write the most detailed report anyone has ever seen. It will have to be good to cover all these. Then I will have a serious talk with my captain. Detective, we just stopped a small-scale war. Something is happening to Revachol. I don't know what yet, but it's going to be a hard spring for the RCM. We need to get ready, infiltrate, investigate. Talk to Captain Price? I'd rather not ruffle the feathers of two captains with my doom-mongering. Work with Price? I'm flattered, but I don't know if I...
This truly came as a surprise to him. Not a bad one, but he's at a loss.
Flattered? You're Lieutenant Kitsuragi. We would be flattered if you even considered.
I would have to tie things up in GRIH first. But, I mean, whatever is coming, Jamrock will be more central to it than the harbor.
And we also have a huge caseload, Lieutenant. Piles that we need to get back to. Mountains, even.
I do like the sound of that.
He's really considering it.
Who is Lena?
She lives at 1113 Tabernacle Road in Jamrock, remember?
Tabernacle? It's on the way over. Near where you live on Perdition.
Fine, if we're gonna drop you off anyway.
She and her husband were conducting the search for the fazmid. It's their discovery, in part. They should know as soon as possible. It would do you good to deliver some positive news for a change.
Good.
Fuck it, let's go. Tron brought his motor carriage. It's a 20-minute drive to Jamrock.
Under the afternoon sky, the great district hums. A chessboard of wooden houses, 80,000 living souls, and chimney stacks. Fire traps as far as the eye can see. From Main Street to Precinct 41, to Boogie Street, forking into the snow-swept horizon. You close your eyes and hear the dogs bark. A lone woman sits by a factory window, dreaming of meteorite strikes. On Rue de Saint-Jérôme, a square bullet slides into a square-shaped chamber. In Old South, a man without eyelids smiles. Spring has come. It's time. Torsen? Yes. McLean? Yes. Heidelstein? No. Vicmere? Yes. Dubois? Yes. Really? Nick Gottlieb looks up from the list. I hear he's unstable. You say that like it's a bad thing. Captain Ptolemy Price gestures with a ballpoint pen. It's dim in his office, and the curtains are drawn. Harry's our man. He'll pull through. When he does, he'll side with the people. Understood. Gottlieb returns to the list. Minnow? Of course.
Wonderful. Then can we please just go back to Jamrock now?